Welcome back to the Keep Going podcast, Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Today we have a special guest. This is Greg. Greg, you want to do a brief intro on yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Vin. Thanks for having me on today. So my name's Greg Jerez, and currently living in Arlington, Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. And if you asked me, who is Greg Jerez? I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm a friend, I'm a mentor. Uh, I'm somebody who just enjoys being in other people's lives and is just wanting to help other individuals in the world and share the love that I have, the happiness that I have, the positivity that I have, and someone who just wants to be a person that lights up a room and shares a smile and helps the next person.
Yeah, I love that. That's the perfect answer, honestly. Like whenever I think of you, I know we got connected. I don't even know how, but obviously just mutual circles, I think connected us via Instagram. And from there we met at Project Indoor, and it's just been a cascade of events since then. But seriously, what you said, you hit it right on the head. Like when I think of you, I just think of like a great friend, like a great dude, and like just someone that just shows up for other people. And it's cool. And I know that you obviously have a transformation such as myself. But it's cool to see the way you live your life because you really are like a source of light for other people. And it's much appreciated, man. It really is.
Yeah, I feel the same way about you. Kind of like you said, we met. I don't even remember exactly like the specific time period or how I came across your profile or who messaged who first. I just know that I think we were both into running. We were both training for full marathons at that point in time when we met. And I think we just embraced each other and we're kind of very supportive of each other. And we're looking to see, how can I help you? How can you help me? Give good advice in terms of our trainings and just positivity, right? So I think that we were both doing our first full, and we both had so much to learn and so many different things that we were seeing. And I know that for me, having you in my corner and everything that you offered me, you were always very open and you always were a great resource for me. And it was a tremendous help because I felt like it was a world that I was very unknown to. I did all my training kind of like on my own. I didn't have a coach or anything. I had only ran one half marathon before my first full. So, I was just an amateur at this and I had no idea what I was doing. But having somebody like you that was there that I could talk to, that I can tell them what I was doing, how I was feeling, was a tremendous impact. So I think that ever since then, like you said, we met in person at the Project Endure event. I know we chatted back and forth before the event and we were like, we got to get a run in together because there wasn't a scheduled run with the Project Endure live event this year. So we were like, let's meet up early morning and set up a group run. And ever since then, I just feel like we've been best friends, to be honest with you. I feel like I
Yeah.
can always come to you for anything. And, just we have that connection because like-minded and just kind of like both are on that same path of life where we want to impact people, we want to help people, and we want to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's funny too, because like even from there, obviously it stemmed from fitness and same with Dan and Greg as well. But it stemmed from fitness and it's just transformed into like so much other stuff. Like even like your brother joined us this weekend and like just like we know each other's families now. We have just a deeper relationship. And then even like what we're dealing with in our own lives, we could go to each other now. It's just a cool dynamic that I don't think a lot of young men really engage in. I think we tend to kind of leave, especially you see, we just hit 27 miles through New York City on Saturday, and like you just like there's a David Goggins aspect to that they people generally don't also touch like the other side. And I know we've talked about it, and I say it all the time, but like I like to live between like Jay Shetty and David Goggins, and I feel like we align a lot on both fronts, which is so unique. And again, it's we have each other to bounce ideas off of and kind of like go through life together, right? Like, now it's just like a whole group and we're kind of, I feel like we're spreading out, which is awesome. But I think it's so important. I think this was like the sense of community that I personally was like searching for. I made all of this like a solo mission and I just can't say how much I appreciate you guys for real.
Yeah, I love that. And like you said, I think it all started off like very fitness related and it's transformed so much more and so much deeper than that. like you said, I feel like I probably talk to you more about non-fitness related things nowadays than actually fitness related things because having a valuable resource that you can trust and go to, and somebody like you said, not a lot of people have both sides of the coin when it comes to that David Goggins mentality of, being really tough, doing hard things and putting yourself through the ringer, but then having like a very soft-hearted side as well, somebody who's very understanding, very caring, and can easily embrace the feelings of others. That middle ground, that balance is so powerful. And a goal of mine is definitely to help other people embrace that, other people find that, because I feel like the balance is perfect. And to me, I look at it almost like flipping a switch sometimes. Like it's something that you have to easily be able to toggle back and forth between having that, very hard mentality and, tough mentality. But then in times, even when you're going through tough situations, having a very gentle viewpoint on it and a gentle way to express feelings or express, how to get through something, I think is like very pivotal in life. And it's definitely helped me be able to balance my life right now and just kind of feel very centered in where I'm at.
I couldn't agree more. And if you kind of, I know we've kind of touched on it often, obviously, but if you kind of want to touch on like where you think like both of those sides come from for you personally, like I know the big Goggins, like you have no problem getting up early, grinding, and then also like obviously like the softer side and like the gentler side, like how you put it. I like that phrase. Where do you think they both kind of stem from?
So I definitely feel like, the gentle side and the soft nature side of my personality and who I am, I would say definitely comes more from my family and maybe even more closely like from my mom. So my mom's definitely a very kind-hearted person, a very caring person, and a very loving person. And I feel like I have a lot of very similar traits to my mom. So growing up, I know like I've always watched my mom be that person that was caring, be that person who put herself out there for other people and was always willing to help other people, helped her family a lot while she was growing up. And I think that I've got all those similar traits. And as well as she's very sympathetic. So I feel like she can relate to others when other people are suffering and going through hardship. And she's always there for those people. And it's almost weird. Like I feel like when somebody's like going through something hard, she like can feel their agony, their pain, or their situation personally, even when it's not her going through it. And I feel like I have a very, it's almost like a superpower. I feel like I have a very similar superpower where when I know that somebody around me is going through some tough situations or they're suffering or they're in pain, either physical, mentally, I almost feel like I'm a part of it. I almost feel like it radiates towards me. And that gives me like so much more energy to be able to want to help them, want to impact them, want to relate to them, and just be there for them and let them know that, they're not alone and that they don't have to go through things by themselves. And with the support of myself and others and, positive thinking, we can help them get through whatever situation they're doing and just wanting to help them improve their life and get out of that tough situation so they can find happiness and positivity again. So, that soft heartedness definitely, I would say, comes from my mom and, just my family growing up as a whole. And, tougher mentality and that David Goggins mentality, I just feel like I've embraced that as I've gone through life. More necessarily, I would relate it a lot towards my physical transformation in terms of my weight loss journey. So I would say maybe about 4 years ago, I made a life decision where I no longer wanted to be overweight. I no longer wanted to be unhealthy. And I wanted to make sure that I prioritized my health for just aspects of life and, wanting to make sure that I lived a long life, lived a healthy life, and lived a happy life and became the best version of myself. So going through those tough times of losing weight, the struggle of losing weight, I feel like made me a very hard individual in terms of knowing that I could do tough things, that I wanted to do tough things, that I wanted to prove to myself that I can put myself through a tough situation and get out of it on top. And that no matter what the barrier was, what the challenge was. I wasn't going to give up, and I wasn't going to lose hope, and I was just going to continue to keep on pushing, keep on driving, and not quit, and achieve the goal, achieve the outcome that I was looking for. And the journey of losing weight is definitely a long road, a challenging road. It's not something that happens overnight, and you definitely have to put in the work. Hard work works. And at the peak of my overweightness, I would say that I peaked at around 215 pounds. And through my weight loss journey, you go through ups and downs, you go through challenges where you end up losing some weight and then you gain some back. But at the outcome, when I finally was finished, with my weight loss journey, I got as low as 128. So, a significant amount of weight was lost. And, that was just compounding effects of putting myself through hard workouts, putting myself through mentally hard situations of, making sure I was sticking to my nutrition plan even when I didn't want to, doing a couple other hard sacrifices of, not going out as much as I used to go out, missing, certain events because I had to prioritize my health for a little while to get to the achievements and the goals that I wanted. So I'd definitely say my weight loss journey has helped me embrace that tougher mentality of wanting to do tough things and wanting to push myself to see how far I can go. And the journey of weight loss, right? Like accomplishing that just proved to myself so much that, if I could do that, if I can get through that, what more can I do? Now that I'm here, what can I push myself to continue to grow in? Like, and that's when I got into running. And when I got into running, I was like, let me see how far I can take this. Let me see how much I can challenge myself. Let me see, like, it all started like from only being able to run 1 mile to then running my first 5K, and then, my first half marathon. And then after that, full marathon. And those were things that I never thought I would ever be doing. But, continuing to be mentally tough and telling myself, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I can accomplish this, has helped build that strong mentality and that tough mentality of, doing hard things and pushing myself to the limit.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. And obviously, I have a similar story as well. But what do you think for you was like that? Like, what was the last straw? Like, what was that tipping point that was like, hey, I need to make a change here? And then what was the like, what kept you going while the situations did get tough?
Yeah, so I guess, a good tipping point, or when I decided that from a health standpoint, I wanted to change my life is, seeing that my family had a lot of like history of illness and history of disease, and knowing that I didn't want to be part of that, that life cycle. A lot of my family members, from my parents and my grandparents to uncles, and great grandparents, have always had multiple different types of illness, from high cholesterol, high blood pressure, cancer, being overweight, high sugar, and all of those different types of issues. And just watching them have to deal with those issues, I knew that that's not something that I didn't want to have to go through. So knowing that being overweight, knowing that being unhealthy is a contributing factor to all of those different diseases and illnesses, I was like, this is something I can control. You so much can't control, your what comes down to you from your family, from your blood, but you can control the factors that you can. And eating healthy, being at, a healthy weight are things that you can control. Exercising and meditating and being in a healthy state of mind are all things that I believe are controllable factors in everyone's lives. And I was like, I can control these things, I can change these things. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it, one, for myself, but also as well for my family, because, wanting to motivate other people in my family to also be healthy with me, and be part of this journey with me, to feel better, to, hopefully avoid being sick, or hopefully avoid, any life expectancy issues or anything like that. So it was like one definitely motivating factor. And then losing both my grandmother and my aunt to cancer when I was younger, that definitely motivated me a lot to want to be a better person and want to become a better version of myself. Both of those individuals highly impacted my life growing up. They helped raise me since I was born, and both of them were extremely caring and extremely loving, and always had so much high hopes for the person that I was and the person that I was supposed to become, and the accomplishments that they wanted me to achieve in life. And unfortunately, they both passed away before I was even 18. So when I sat down and I thought about it, I was like, I really want to make them proud. I really miss them. They were such impacting factors in my life, and they believed in me more than anybody I know. So I knew that because they believed in me, I wanted to make them proud. I wanted to change, and I wanted to be, the best version of myself that I can be, to, make them proud and to show them that, their belief in me has really helped me grow into the person that I am today, has helped drive the change and the transformation from the old Greg to who the new Greg is today. And I still think about them, till this day. And I'm very thankful for the impact that they had in my life, because without their belief, I wouldn't be here. I might have never started on my weight loss journey. I might have never wanted to change. But knowing the fact that I don't want to let them down, and knowing the fact that they're not even here to see it, continues to push me to want to be better. Because, to me now, this is also a sacrifice that watching them go through their cancer and watching them pass away, and losing them, I don't want their suffering to, go to waste. So them, unfortunately, sometimes something sad or bad has to happen in your life for you to realize that you want to change. But, I am, thankful that I have them in my corner still. And I truly believe that they're watching over me, and that I'm definitely making them proud today.
You definitely are, man. For sure. And two things I definitely want to hit on there are, one is, and I think it's such an important thing that's very overlooked, is like, you're right, like so many things are out of our control, but like what you eat, when you go to sleep, how long you sleep for, we do have so much control on these such important driving factors that really, really affect our health and our mental health. And I think that's such a good point. I've always said that, like, you kind of, a lot of people get into self-development when they get into fitness. I know what kind of happened for me and you. And I wonder, I always said like, oh, they just like have a correlation, but I've never really been able to pinpoint it. And you saying that, it's control. It's realizing that you have control of your situation and being able to do something about it. And you've just shown yourself the compounding effect of consistency with fitness. So now you could translate that into other areas. So for sure, agree with that. And second, I think one, your grandma and your aunt definitely made you also the man you are today. And especially, you touched on your mom, like giving you the power of like that empathic side. I think they definitely did as well. And then even a caveat with that is, I think we need those people that see a better version of us than we see sometimes. And I think a lot of us have those different people. Like, I know personally, I've had those people in different stages of my life, and those people have changed and the situations have changed. But it's such an important factor, because sometimes when you're so zoomed in, you can't see your own potential.
Yeah, yeah, truly believe in that. And it's definitely something that I personally battle with and struggle with from a lot of different aspects of life. And it stems back to me personally not, I don't like to talk about myself a lot. So in terms of when I do things, or, things I'm accomplishing, I'm kind of like very like quiet and humble about the things I do in my life and how I go about my life. And like you said, sometimes I truly don't realize like some of the accomplishments that I do, or, some of the impacts that I'm having in the world, or the true potential that I have. But then I have family, or I have friends like you that, will reach out, and they'll tell me, man, you're doing great things, or, what you just did was extremely, exceptional. And I think it's good to realize that sometimes in a healthy way. I try to avoid it because sometimes I find it a little vain, and I also, I don't want to come across like egotistical or anything like that. So it's why I avoid ever trying to look at myself, or truly fully believing in myself. But I think that it's important that we do have those people around us, so that they can help us and embrace us and give us that extra boost or that extra belief in ourselves that sometimes we don't see in ourselves. And it touches back on a little bit on the question you also asked earlier, like what keeps you going? And for me, it's definitely the people around me, my family, and all those people that support me and believe in me. It's definitely the biggest driver on what keeps me going because I don't want to let anybody down. And there is truly so many people that I'm very grateful for that really do believe in me. They believe in the person that I am. They believe in the mission that I'm trying to accomplish. And I don't want to let any of those people down. So, I want to continue to work hard. And these people that believe in me, it's because they know that I have true potential to do whatever they, personally believe in me that I'm doing. And their belief gives me belief that, I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right things, I'm saying the right things, and I'm helping the right people. So the people around me, my friends, my family, all those who support me and motivate me is definitely, what keeps me going and what continues to drive me to work harder and to become a better version of myself. And it also helped me a lot during my first marathon, right? So it took me forever to sign up for my first marathon because I was always scared. I was always afraid. I was like, I don't know that, I can do this. I don't know that I'm gonna, hit the goal that I want to get the time that I want to get. But at the end of the day, going into a race day, I remember the night before the race, my dad went with me down to Miami, where I was running the marathon, and he asked me how I was feeling. And I told him I was nervous. I had jitters, and I was a little afraid. And he asked me like, "What are you afraid of? Like, what are you scared of?" And I was just like, "I don't want to let anybody down." I was like, if I showed you my phone now, there's so many people that have sent me messages and have called me and wished me luck and have told me that I'm going to crush it and that I was going to get my time and that all my training was going to pay off. And I was like, all these people like truly, really believe in me and they care about me. And I just don't want to let it down. So that has always helped push me because during that marathon, I definitely went through some struggle points. I definitely didn't prepare correctly for the humidity and from a fueling standpoint, but I wasn't going to give up. And I knew that at the end of the day, my goal ended up being I was just going to finish. And that finishing I knew was going to be enough to make everyone proud. I knew that regardless that I might have not got the time that I wanted, that the people that do care, the people that were supporting me and were believing in me, they were just going to be happy, that I finished and I did my best. And I think that, that hit home. And it continues to push me today, just, the support I have with all those around me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And listen, man, I'm there with you. And the tasks that we throw ourselves at are not little. I think we make them little because of the circle that we now run in. They are not little. Like running a marathon is not like we run a marathon every weekend. Like that's sick. That's psychotic. We are crazy. A good crazy. But like I've just flipped this totally on its head where it's just like I fear so much more not getting in the arena because I know that if I just keep showing up, just say it's the sub 3 marathon, I'll run 30 of them. I don't care. Like, I really don't care. And like, who's ever gonna, if you bash someone for trying to hit a marathon time and you don't run or you're not like, you can't listen to those people anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I look at it, where the people that are supporting you and wishing you good luck, they just want to see you do well in whatever well means for you. It doesn't have to be a sub 3. It doesn't have to be, sub 24 and a 100 miler, but just showing up, and that's what you do. And that's what we do. We're just consistent people. And when you just keep showing up, you can't fail. You literally cannot fail. And you're going to hit the goal. And it just doesn't matter how many times it takes. The bottom line is you're in the arena. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And I don't want to skip over it. But if you want to go into like just what your recent running history, I mean, even the last like 4 months has looked like, because it's crazy. I mean, I'll start for you. I mean, we just ran 27 miles through New York City. You did 28 because you were so fit. I mean, we first of all, we did not to, this is more tooting your horn than mine because I was the back. like 3 or 4. I was feeling a little bit, but I mean, we ran 27 miles in a 3 hours and 50 minute marathon. People's goal marathon time, like actual race time, is like a great, great race is sub 4. We did that in 27 miles. Like we belittle a lot of this stuff because it's kind of our norm now, right? Like that's our baseline. So we're always shooting for higher, which is great. But let's just put into perspective that you also ran 28 in the same time, basically, that we all ran 27. So what that meant was I don't even know what pace wise it came out to, but you literally were passing us and coming back to us and getting more miles in. Like it was I like to think I'm a pretty good runner now, but it's just like you're literally like basically laughing us, which is it's so cool. Like it's such a cool thing to see as a friend that it's like, this is the level I get to shoot for because it's insane. And then I believe a couple months ago, you ran a 30 miler at 7:40 and you had like 2 gels on you and you've never done over a marathon in your life.
Yeah. So I definitely, just to back up before we talk about that, like
Yeah.
where that even came from. I don't know if you remember, but when you, Dan, and I met at the Project Endure event, we started talking about ultras because, Dan's all into the ultra world.
Yeah.
And I clearly remember looking at you guys dead in the eye, and I was like, I have zero interest in ever running more than
Yeah.
marathon. I was like, I have zero interest. I don't care about it. Never gonna happen. Anyways, don't ask me why, but 2 weeks after that, I just left with so much energy from meeting you guys in person. I just left with like so much drive and so much self-belief that I was like, let's just go out and run and kind of like see what happens. So I remember that somebody was running a 50K and I was like, I think I could do that too. I think I'm gonna try. So I set out to run a 50K on a Saturday morning. Like you said, I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't really prep too much. I had like a piece of toast, a banana, I think, and I took 2 gels with me and a handheld, this is also the first time I've ever carried a handheld, by the way. But I remember running and I was just like, I'm not going to worry about pace. I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to go out and run and I'll just, stop if I, feel tired or feel like, I'm going to injure myself. And I remember getting to mile 20 and I was just kind of like, I didn't even notice I had been out already for 20 miles. And I was just kind of like, well, I'm just feeling really good. So, at this point in time, I'm like, all right, only got a few more miles to hit the marathon mark. So I remember hitting 26 and I was just kind of like, oh, this is kind of crazy. This is the second time I've ever ran 26. And all right, I was like, only 5 more, no big deal now. So crushing the last 5 and I get to 31 and I'm like, well, do I stop now or do I just kind of like keep going? Because, it felt good. So I was like, all right, let's just, keep going for a little bit longer. So I ended up running, I think, a total of a little over 35 miles and just kind of like called it a day there. Um, can't say I wasn't tired. Can't say at that point in time, like legs weren't heavy, but it felt so amazing. And I remember sending you guys like my run, and I was like, "Hey guys, kind of just did this. What are your thoughts?" And I think you and Dan were both like, "I don't understand. I don't think you understand like how crazy that was." Because yeah, it was like 35 right at like a 7:41 pace or something like that. So, um, and I think that's a huge pivotal point into who I am sitting here right now because that run left my self-confidence like through the roof. And it wasn't necessarily because I was like, oh, I just did this and I did it at this pace. It was more along the lines of this was something I just said to people I'm never going to do and I don't want to do. I did it. And I was like, I don't even really know now where like my cap could be. Like and that's for me, it's like a scary thing to think about because now with my level of confidence that I have, there's truly nothing that I feel like if I don't put my mind to, I can't go out and do. And that doesn't just come, from the aspect of fitness or running, but just like in all aspects of my life. And I say that in like a very humble and confident way. So, I don't want you or anyone else to take that wrong. But when I
No
say
one
that,
could.
it's just because I just trust myself. I trust who I am And I trust that, if I do things the right way for the right reasons with the right intentions, I can, put myself through the ringer and, accomplish whatever it is. And to touch on failure a little bit, right? That's not to say that even though I think I can do it and I feel confident that I'm going to do it, that doesn't mean I might not fail. And I think funnily enough, like today is like a really good example of that, where I was like, well, just ran the 28 miles this past weekend and I want to try to, hit a dumbbell bench press PR. So, I went into the gym like super confident. Like I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit it. Like there's no way I'm not hitting it. And then, picked up the 90s, picked up 290 dumbbells and tried to push it up and it did not go up at all. And, I definitely was disappointed. I definitely was, upset that it didn't happen, but it definitely wasn't for the lack of confidence, and it definitely wasn't um because I didn't believe I could do it. It just wasn't there today. The great thing was about it that I mentioned it to a friend earlier today, and I was like, don't worry, we're going to try again and we're definitely getting it next time, because I think that you learn from failure too. And she actually like sent me back a really great message, because I was like, I feel like, my strength levels are kind of like weak. I couldn't get them up. Like I said, I was definitely feeling disappointed about it. And she reminded me that, strength is perspective, in terms of being weak or in terms of being strong. And I think she purposely told me that because I tell her that running pace is perspective all the time, because she tells me all the time that, oh my God, you're so fast, or oh my God, how did you hit those times? And I'm like, I'm not that fast. It's looks fast to you, but it's really not that fast.
All
And
relative.
my pace is relative to me, your pace is relative to you. I can run a 6 minute mile, you can run a 15-minute mile, and we both ran the same mile. We both got just as far. And your hard and my hard are the exact same levels of hard, regardless of if mine was faster and yours was slower.
Yeah. No, I could not agree more. It's a great example as well. I kind of want to dive into some of these like topics and questions we have written out as well. And one that really sticks out is like what defines success to you?
I think it's a good question. So, success is definitely defined by, and I enjoy this question a lot because I feel like success is different for so many people, right? And for some people, success is how much, money can I make? How rich can I get? Or how much material things can I have? Or can I get if I get this promotion at work, that defines me as successful. So, for me, in who I am today, success is defined about like how authentic can I be? Am I being my fully authentic self? Am I putting myself out there to the world and making sure that I'm making myself available and vulnerable to the world around me so that I can impact others and others can feel comfortable with coming to me? And for me to be successful, it's for people to be able to trust me, for people to be able to have confidence in me, that they can come to me for help and they can genuinely know that I'm truly there to help them and offer them whatever they need in life. And if I can't help them, if I can't find the answer, I promise that, I'll go out of my way to make sure that I put them in touch with, either with the right person or in the right path for whatever they need. So, that's definitely what success is to me, like being authentic and people truly believing in that I'm a genuine person, and the number of people I can impact and help and change in the world is how I would define, if my life was a success at the end of the day. Like if I wasn't here tomorrow, um, can I, be gone knowing I made the most impact that I possibly could have and left compounding effect on the world? Like, did I help somebody enough that where now, because of my help, they can go help the next person, and then that person can then go help the next person, and just cause that ripple effect, that chain reaction but because I started it, it's like a building block, right? If I can lay the first block down and I can have others continue to like lay more blocks down, that will continue to go way past when I'm no longer here. And that would be how I define success.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And these answers always change for me. And right now, I would say with the season I'm in, it's inner peace for myself, and then the people that I love and care about holding me in a high regard. And I think that's just the only two things that really matter to me right now. Because everything else, like you said, material stuff comes and goes, and it's just, happiness is fleeting. So I'd rather build that peace and just be okay with handling situations that are thrown at me. And you obviously, I feel like now I'm in a very similar boat, and I think this is one way you've definitely like rubbed off on me, where my alarm is never set past like 5 a.m. now, and I'm just like, I'm this guy now. How do you do that personally? Like, how do you handle that? Like, even this morning, I got up 4 a.m. I was out the door by 4:40, hitting 8 miles, and now it's become sort of like routine. How did you get into that habit, and how do you combat those days where you just don't want to put your shoes on?
It's funny. I'm actually meeting somebody tomorrow at 4 a.m. to go on a run. And they're like, I know that's kind of early, so if you just want to like meet along the route later on, that's fine. And I was like, oh no, don't worry, that's like totally on my normal schedule. And they were like, that's crazy. They're like, you're totally crazy, but that's a good crazy. Yeah. So it definitely all started and stemmed from, working out and when I started working out and wanting to lose weight. So originally, I had a job and, I had to be at work by 8 a.m. And I decided that for me, like working out in the mornings was pretty much like when I was most successful with it, right? Like I had tried to go to the gym and work out various different times throughout my life. And, I would go after work and and I could never stick with that. Sometimes I would go during lunch, could never stick with that. So I always had an excuse around those times but I was like, if I start going in the morning, there's no excuse there. There's no excuse that I can't get up and commit to this and do it. So it originally started where I would get to the gym at 6, work out for an hour, shower, then, head to work and be working. And then that turned into, you know, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm really enjoying working out and I want to do more things. At this point in time, I was very new to the gym. So I, didn't know too many exercises. I didn't really follow a specific training program or training plan. I just knew I needed to be in the gym to lose weight and be active. But when I started having fun, when I started falling in love with the process, when I started wanting to work out more, wanting to learn more about weightlifting and strength training, I was like, okay, I need more time in here. I got to get here earlier. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to start getting here at like 5:30 and, give myself an hour and a half to work out. And that way I can do more. And then that turned into, well, I kind of want to start, doing some running. I kind of want to start, doing the Stairmaster. I would see people on the Stairmaster and I was like, God, those people are badass. I was like, "Yeah, I want to do that. I want to start doing that." So I was like, but I don't want to stop lifting. I don't want to stop strength training. So I was like, I guess I'm just gonna have to start coming in here earlier and adding more time, when I'm at the gym. So, that turned into then, okay, let me get here at like at 4:30. So that meant, okay, I need to start getting up at 4 so I can, get myself ready, get myself situated, drive to the gym and start working out by 4:30. So then I could do a little bit of Stairmaster and then I could do still all my regular weight training stuff. And I think it just became habit. It just became routine because I was having fun. Like I was having fun and I knew it was something that I wanted to be doing. And it got to the point where I would be excited to go to bed because I was like, okay, I just want to go to bed so it could be 4 a.m. tomorrow and I can wake up and I can head to the gym because I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the fitness aspect. I fell in love with having fun and that evolved and that transformed into this is now like my me time. This is the time that I'm dedicating for myself. This is the time where there's no other distractions that I also know I'm not gonna miss out on anything or have to say no to like friends or family or special events. because, nobody else is up at 4 a.m. What else is going on at 4 a.m.? Nothing. So I was like, this is going to be my new life. This is going to be what I want to do. And then that continued to evolve where it became so much more productive. And I found myself to be just a more organized and more routine person, because we all know, when you start getting up early, really early at 4 a.m., 3:45, it's not easy. So you do have to be extremely disciplined to do that, especially when you're first starting off. You have to have no excuses, even the days that you're tired, the days that are more harder, the days you definitely don't want to wake up. Being committed to the discipline, to the promises that you made yourself, just have compounding effects on other aspects of your life. So as I controlled those hard times when I didn't want to get up, and I controlled those hard times on where this really sucks, embracing those moments helped me, be disciplined in waking up early, which then helped me become a more disciplined and routine person just in all aspects of my life. I do sometimes I get told I'm not too flexible, which, I would definitely say that I'm extremely flexible, but it seems like I'm not flexible because I'm so routine. Like I'm very like, I know I'm waking up at 4. I know I'm getting my workouts in at this time. I know I'm getting my certain meals in at this time. So it just looks like I'm not flexible, and I'm kind of just like very regimented to the same things that I do every day. But it's just because it's helped organize my life, and it's kind of like helped me put structure to my days, where I know that, during certain times I'm going to be doing certain things. So I'm going to be focusing on those things, and giving up my attention and my all to those things, which then just continue to make me trust in the process of waking up early, and how much value it has to it. I almost call it a life hack, because I feel like, a lot of people talk about time, and time is the one thing you can't buy. Like time is the thing that no matter how much money you have, you can't get back time. You can't buy more time. So to me, I'm like, well, waking up early, I'm getting extra time that a lot of people don't get because they're not waking up early. So it's 7 a.m. already, and I feel like I've already accomplished some of the hardest things that are part of daily life, which are meditation, which are working out, which are structuring the rest of your day and kind of being mentally prepared and ahead of the game for all the different challenges, your work or your relationships that you might have going on in life. And it's 6 a.m. and I've already finished all of that. And some people haven't even gotten up at this point in time. So to me, like getting up early is a life hack. I'm getting an extra foot. I'm getting some advantage. I am getting extra time that not everyone has, because not everyone's willing to put in the sacrifice, put in the dedication of having to do that hard thing of waking up early. And I also looked at it from the aspect of like, people always ask me, like today I posted a story on my Instagram about my 90% of my days are always structured in this format, waking up at 3:45. And this is kind of like how the rest of my morning goes. And I got messages like, well, what time do you go to bed? So, on a normal given day, I try to be in bed between like 9 and 9:15. And that's just also what works for me, right? So I know that a lot of people are very conscious that they need 8 hours of sleep, and they're very like, if I don't get 8 hours, I wake up tired or I wake up in a bad mood. For me personally, what works best is anywhere between that 6.5 to 7 hour range. So going to bed at 9, waking up at 3:45, for me, that works the best. Honestly, like if I get anywhere more than like 7 hours of sleep, I personally wake up more tired. So it gives me more motivation that I know like, oh, if I sleep in, I'm gonna feel miserable like throughout the day. Like I'm not gonna feel as energized as I normally do. I'm not gonna feel like just as balanced as I normally do. So knowing that if I get up at my regular time, the rest of my day is gonna be structured and I am gonna be energized, I feel like lets me know that I'm gonna be successful, and continues to give me that motivation for waking up early. And the other thought process between going to bed early is, most of the time, not everyone, but most of the time, people like, what are you normally doing between like the hours of like 8, 11 p.m.? For the most part, people are just scrolling on their phones through, social media. People are just watching Netflix. They're not really doing too many productive things. Like I said, for the most part, not everyone. But So if you're not doing anything too productive with that time, why not just go to bed earlier? And when you get up earlier, you are going to be doing productive things because there's not really too much else to be doing at that time. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that you find your joy and your fun in working out. You could get up early and you could read for an hour. You can get up early and you can meditate for an hour. Whatever you find purposeful to your life, use those early mornings to take advantage of that extra time. When the rest of the world is quiet, it's such a beautiful place to be. When the rest of the world is quiet, like, and you feel more at peace with yourself. I love to run at 4 in the morning. I just go outside and run. And I used to not be a huge outside runner. So people that know me like really closely would probably laugh that I say this now. But I've fallen in love with 4 a.m. outside workouts. And I like to run on the road too. So there's like no traffic or no cars that are trying to run over me or honk at me. But it's so peaceful because it's quiet and you just feel like you're almost like in space. Like you just like it's so quiet and you're just in your own thoughts and you're also kind of like I use it as my reflection time because it is so peaceful that I can sit back while I'm running and just get lost in my thoughts and reflect on either what happened has been going on in my life in the previous day or in the previous week or what I have upcoming. It helps me kind of like just like sit back and soak life in and like you mentioned earlier, just find inner peace. It's a beautiful thing to wake up early in the morning and once you find it, once it's not easy, but if you can commit to it, you can
Yeah,
build consistency around it. You won't regret it. And I like to share a lot of reels on Instagram about, famous, successful people, actors, or, professional athletes or entrepreneurs that will swear by getting up early and they're extremely successful doing it and I know I'm personally extremely successful doing it. So I feel like if somebody puts in the time, the dedication, and gives it a try, I think they'll definitely benefit and find a lot of positivity out of it.
totally agree, man. And like you said, honestly, it's funny because it sounds crazy, but I know exactly. Like I just did a run this morning at like 4:30, and it is. It's like you're in space because everything else is like the whole world shut off. Like you're probably like I even put on my story this morning. Like I saw one other runner, and it wasn't until a little later, but it was like 5:45 probably. But it was my little sister, and again, she knows that I'm up, and I know that she's good. She's nails when it comes to like you give her a plan, she's gonna follow it to a T. She's very disciplined, but I think it's a little added bonus that she knows I'm up doing it. So she's like, why not? But yeah, no, I totally agree in such solitude. And for the people that do say like, oh, you're too regimented, or anybody that looks at a schedule like that as a burden is missing the big point because it frees up time. That's actually what scheduling does. Like it actually, if you time block like that, it frees up time. When they say discipline equals freedom, and it's the truth. When you have those other areas locked down, you have more freedom to roam around and do other things. You literally, like you said, it's a time hack. I feel like I live 2 days. I mean, you have a day between 4 a.m. to noon, and then from noon to 8, it's like a separate day. I totally agree. And lastly, what's some advice you would give to a younger version of yourself?
Uh, so I would definitely tell my younger self to be more confident, to not be scared, to not worry so much about what other people thought of, him, me, whoever that is, and to just have more self-belief, to trust in the person that you are, and to show the world your caring heart a lot earlier than you did, and embrace the true person that you are, regardless of the outcome. Trust the process and be intentional. Do things for the right reasons and don't try to buy happiness. Don't try to impress other people and don't pretend to be somebody just to fit in a clique or, to be popular on social media or to gain followers or anything like that. Um, just be authentic a lot earlier than it took me to realize that that's where you can find true peace, true happiness, by being authentic. And when you're authentic and you're very intentional and genuine about it, the right people and the right circle will gravitate towards you versus you gravitating towards other people, which then end up being, the wrong people and the wrong habits and the wrong things that aren't meaningful and don't fulfill any specific life purpose.
No, I love that. Yeah, honestly, one that's been just rattling my head is just like, just ask yourself the questions. I feel like when I was younger, I was always asking everybody's opinion, everybody else's advice, and it's like, let's ask yourself these questions because life is literally a game of you answering your own questions. And like you said, when you get caught up in answering what you think people want your answer to be, or just kind of not following your true self, that's when you lose yourself. But dude, I really appreciate you as a friend. I appreciate your time, and definitely excited to have you back on here after you crush some races.
Yeah, thanks, Vin. First podcast, and I feel extremely comfortable being able to do it with you. Like I said, just having a friend that you can trust and speak openly to, and that gets it, right? That truly gets it and actually cares about, what I'm saying, my story, and my feelings is definitely a huge impact in my life. So I'm not the person I am today without a lot of the things that we've gone through together and shared with each other. So thanks again for this opportunity and listening to me and always being somebody that inspires and motivates me.
Yes, well, I appreciate it.